Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Falahi, Professor and Chair of the Department of Psychological Sciences at Central Connecticut State University. Today's topic is on student disability services. So why accommodations? Many of you have had accommodations in K through 12. The purpose is to provide equal access through accommodations because we know that you have the ability to succeed. Unfortunately, our services are often underutilized. It's estimated that about 12.8% of our students meet the criteria for a disability. However, at any given time at CCSU, we actually have under 3% who seek out services. There are several laws that impact services at CCSU. So prior to graduation from high school, IDEA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Act, requires that schools conduct a thorough evaluation of a learning disability should one be suspected. Depending on how serious the disability is, then the child may be eligible for special education. So this is a national federal special education law that provides individualized education programs to students who are eligible, and it requires it mandates states to provide provisions. But there are also additional laws. IDEA only applies from elementary school through high school age students. The ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, applies to all public and private colleges and universities. And the purpose is to prevent discrimination against individuals with disabilities who have a right to participate in or benefit from services, programs, or activities. Also, another law that impacts giving accommodations is the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that applies to all colleges and universities that accept any type of federal financial assistance for any program or service. The purpose is to prevent discrimination against individuals with disabilities. And then finally, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, we cannot deny services or discriminate against an otherwise qualified person who has a disability, and we must demonstrate compliance if we're receiving any kind of aid. So how do these laws impact us? Well, we must remove any barriers for learning for the student or provide reasonable modification to rules, policies, or practices. Now, there are some differences between high school or even K through 12 and college. We are not mandated to seek out those students who might have a disability and test them. Students must ask for the accommodation they feel they need and provide us with the proper documentation or paperwork from a medical or mental health professional. So students have to advocate for themselves. This is something that's very different. In K through 12, the laws required anyone in academia to advocate for the student and get them properly tested. And these accommodations must be reviewed and renewed each semester. So, what is the definition of a disability for colleges and universities? It's a person who has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, or has a record of an impairment, or is regarded to having an impairment, is qualified to be admitted to the program either with or without an accommodation, and this disability substantially limits a major life activity. The program would not have to endure substantial changes, adjustments, or modifications if this person is accepted. Some examples include both physical and mental health examples, as you can see here. Everything from depression and bipolar disorder, PTSD, to an intellectual disability, deafness, blindness, autism, cancer, etc. So once the student has sufficiently documented a disability, then we must provide reasonable accommodations or modifications. So whenever a disability impacts a major life activity, then we need to go ahead and provide accommodations. Now, it's not that these students are given unfair advantage or that it requires significant alteration to the program, and we aren't lowering our academic or technical standards. So the accommodations also must be done in a timely manner. So, in order to get started, go to the Student Disability website that I've given you here. Right on that page is an online intake form that you will fill out. You also should download the documentation that needs to be given to your medical or mental health professional to complete, and that's called the Disability Verification Form. Once you have that completed, contact Student Disabilities for an intake interview, and there is the phone number. It's really important to take advantage of accommodations because this is your right as a student. Of course, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me again, Carolyn Falahi. I'm the professor and chair of the Department of Psychological Science.